Hello, I'm Stellaris, and if you're wondering what the hell I'm doing here, all big and in the center instead of in the corners like where I would not normally belong, I'm also wondering that. um, Basically what happened was while I was editing the second video for Biomutant, I realized that my mic muted at some point and I just never noticed. And that basically meant that 2/3 to 3/4 of the video had none of my audio, and it was basically just my mouth flapping open and close, which I'm not really sure anyone really wants to see. So, my first thought was, fuck. And then my second thought was, well, okay, I'll just reload my old save and then just replay it. Unfortunately, I messed up, like most things in my life, because I saved over the old save file, like the manual save file, which meant that I was basically stuck here. And I didn't really want to mess too much with save files, so I was like, okay, well then I could just replay the game from the beginning and re-record just the part that I need to, because we're not that far into the game. But then I was like, huh, or I could just try something new. Because Biomutant has a lot of exposition, I feel like, and a lot of it is told through the narrator, who talks incredibly slowly sometimes. So I thought, well, okay, since this is already kind of messed up, let's try to turn it into something more positive. And so I basically decided I would try to make a more like sped up, abridged video of what happens in Biomutant episode 2. That being said, I've never really done anything like this, and it's probably going to be bad, and it's probably going to be really awkward, and I'm probably sorry about that. But hopefully some parts of it will be enjoyable. Basically, I think it'll be only like maybe a third of the length of the original video, so in my opinion that's good. Oh gosh. In any case, yep, so enjoy my failings. And I hope you enjoy this abridged version of Biomutant episode 2. So, after admiring our little guy's fur blowing in the wind and his little nose twitching, we decide to set off again. And we're heading off to the Jagni or the Myriad tribe. We're going to ignore these people fighting because it has absolutely nothing to do with us. And nobody's asking for help, so yeah, we're not gonna get involved. Not our problem. And while we're on this journey, we find a hat. And it's kind of cute. And it has better stats. But then we realize that it looks really awful, kind of. And most importantly, it stops the whole, fur blowing through your wind animation. And we're not having none of that, so no.
But he let you in to find out.
He's all like, I don't know if the Sifu will have time to meet you. But he does, because we're the main character. And we're like, damn, look at this. It's so noble. And then... which is mean, but I mean, look at him. Basically, he wants to unite all the tribes so that he can defeat the World Eaters.
The World Eaters and saving the Tree of Life is the only way to make the world
The World
a better
Eaters
place.
apparently look like little baby Godzillas. Also, he tells you about the wasteland, kind of, which is where you probably came from. There's a great wall that apparently separates the wasteland and their side of the world, I guess. It's probably just a really irradiated piece of land. He also tells you that he was one of your Muma's original Wong Fu disciples, and that she was the one that invented Wong Fu. Go figure. After all of that nonsense, we decide that we're going to ally with the Myriad anyways, because of Out of Date. He is literally the only reason why we're going to do that, because I feel bad for him. Okay, click join. I already said that we're gonna join, so hurry up and click it. Stop making this awkward. Come on. There we go. And now look, with a simple handshake, we are now part of the Myriad tribe. And we're supposed to help them take control of rival outposts. I'm pretty sure that just basically means beating them up until they decide to become a part of your tribe. Yeah. Also, he mentions a lot that you're kind-hearted, and he tries to, like, I feel like, really convince you that you're kind-hearted. But he's probably in for a surprise. But then we see these guys, and I'm pretty sure that's the Jagni tribe Sifu, and he looks so much cooler. And we're left with nothing but regret.
And that will never.
Well, as we wallow in regret, we run around, take all of the treasures in the Myriad village, talk with some of the people. Oh my god, wait, we have no money. Find out that we're poor. And we drown. Oh, and we find this sweet skirt. It's a skirt. That we put on because it has much better armor, and it shows off our little mutant's thin and furry legs, which is a plus. Also, I think the toilet brush is the most powerful weapon in the weapon shop. So after doing all of that, we finally leave the tribe, and then we run into this guy. He is a wonky wump. I don't know, a wonky mump, sorry. I don't know what a mump is, but he's deformed and unfurred, which means he's not cute. We decide to beat him up, and we totally don't get beaten up in the process.
You're hurt bad.
And then for all of our troubles, we get a level, a piece of candy, and we get to rummage in the garbage bin next to him, which had nothing worth it, by the way. So all of it was completely unworth it. So leaving that disappointment behind, we finally reach the old childhood village that the narrator and the Sifu told us to go visit for some reason, and we don't have the power to say no because this is how we continue the story. So we do, and it's all burned down, and guess what? Flashback time!
Sometimes feelings change. It's not about who you were, it's about who you'll become. This story is far from over.
And now we're tiny again, and the village is not burned down. Then we meet this guy, Goop, and yeah, I don't know what he is either, and yeah, he is mildly terrifying. So we can pick 3 options while we're talking to him, and I think the one on the right is like the good light option, the one in the middle I think is like the neutral balanced option, and then the one on the left, or yeah, the last left one is like the smart alecky dark option, which is always super great. We get a small impromptu swimming lesson from Goop, who just throws us into the water, and we find out that our stamina runs out super quickly, even faster than swimming in Genshin, which is crazy. And then Muma shows up, and she looks really mad because we're supposed to have gone to practice with her in the village square, but we're off doing other things. She seems kind of really strict, so we pick the neutral options so that we don't get on her bad side. You know, it's like pretending to be good. And then here's Gizmo, who's into recycling and upcycling. That's the word, right? He takes the recycled stuff and then makes it into like new stuff. Isn't that just recycling? He's into recycling. Either way, we help him pick up the garbage, and he teaches us how to craft stuff. Muma seems like a really impatient person because I think she's just following you around, and she shows up again. But we pacify her again by picking the good and or neutral options, and she tells you that recycling is important and other life advice about living your life each day and picking your own path and all this other blah blah nonsense. And then we run into these losers who are bullies. They insult us, and they're not very nice, so we decide to pick all the smart alecky answers because, man, they're super asking for it. And then they proceed to try to beat us up, and because they're cowards, they team up on us 3v1. We beat up 2 of them, and even though we're about to beat up the 3rd one, we still somehow get knocked down, and they act all high and mighty, and then steal our weapon that we crafted because they're assholes and losers. Muma, who again is just watching all of this happen, comes over and asks you what happens, and you get to pick more options that determine what kind of child you were. So, yeah. And then she leaves again and we have to go find her. But as we're trying to go find her, we run into Popsy, who I'm assuming is Little Mutant's dad. He needs help, so we help him out. And then he teaches us how to make armor. Also, the game code left a small unintended surprise for us. Finally reach Muma, and then we get to have a quick training montage. And then afterwards, she tells us that Wiz and Gizmo has a present for us, and it's Otto. And then we have a beautiful, lovely night, and we get to rest up. Just kidding, because this guy comes barging in, completely uninvited, and he intends to set the world on fire. Like, literally, he is literally setting it on fire. We have to run away because the house is burning down.
A burnt kidling will learn to dread fire.
And then, not expecting quick timing events, and forgetting that Alt is the dodge key, we get hit by this bookcase and lose like 80% of our health. Seriously, that's messed up. Even worse, we have to fight this LUPA-LUPIN dude, and we have super low health. Oh, and before you fight, Muma says a lot of like death flag raising lines. I mean, she said them earlier, like while we were going through the village chasing after her, but like these are like, oh, she's super gonna die, like lines. Back to the fight, we get defeated because we have no health, and Muma just keeps getting knocked around, but it's okay because they give us a second chance, and this time we have full health. So, yeah, it goes much smoother.
You must go through fire.
Except for the part where he grabs us and then throws us into the ocean, and then it turns into an escape scene.
The surf goes where it wants to go. It'll take you to the shore as long as you go with the flow.
Unfortunately, LUPA-LUPIN can swim. And, like we thought, Muma ends up dying trying to save you, and it's very sad. But I still don't really understand how she dies in just one hit. I mean, she was getting completely battered up, like, at the square. But, whatever.
Death is not to be feared by one who has lived life with a pure heart. A part of her will live on in you.
We finally managed to reach Popsy,
but passed on to the next. Life must go on. Real sacrifice
and
comes
we
from
run
love
away, but
and
because we're
necessity,
tiny,
when
you know,
all
Little
other
Mutant
options
trips
are
and
exhausted.
loses time, and
The ultimate test of
LUPA-LUPIN is running up on us. So, of course, Popsy decides he needs to do what's best for his little mutant,
What
and he
you
throws
do
him
for
up.
yourself dies with you. What you do for your kin remains and makes you immortal in their memory.
And he ends up sacrificing himself too. Super needlessly, predictably tragic. So, all of that finally over. We get to go help some people from our new tribe beat up this fluff Hulk.
The tribe's caught a
It's
fluffy
like
Hulk.
a
Better watch
fluffy,
out. It's no
super
pet.
miniature baby Godzilla. The NPCs aren't super helpful.
They couldn't
I
keep
think
it
if he gets
down.
too far away, they
Fluff
don't
Hulk
do
tumble
anything,
loose.
and I'm pretty sure he aggroes us the most. So
Well, not dead yet.
we totally get our butts kicked, and it probably takes us like 2 tries because he does more than half of your health in one hit. So yeah. But it's okay because we managed to do it on the second try. After we help these guys out, we get more info on which outpost to take out, and then we go through a subway.
Look, an emergency box from the old days when you needed to pack a punch to to survive. Wow, bet that nut makes a tight fist.
Where we find this. This is a melee weapon that can break through walls. You can also apparently use it in combat. But I hate knuckles and fist stuff. So we immediately switch back to the sword once all the walls are broken. It looks really cool, but I'm not going to use it. So after encountering a couple of setbacks and nuisances, we finally reach the end of the subway. And then Otto talks to us somehow, and that basically opens up side quests. But he really just talks about how Toxinol is bad, so I'm not really sure how that relates to side quests being open, but it is. The game literally says it. And so after grabbing some side quests, instead of going to the outpost like the game wants us to, we go to Bricktown. But, I mean, I think the main quest is like on the way to Bricktown, or like past Bricktown, so it's fine. We'll be fine. So we grab some more loot, find a beanie that has a mustache on it. Remember though that hats look awful and block our ears, so we sadly don't equip it. And then, as night falls, we end the day. Still in a skirt, still watching the wind blow through our fur, and still wondering if the narrator will ever talk faster. And that was Biomutant 2, essentially. I hope this wasn't too weird, and I was probably just better off replaying it, but I thought that this would be more fun. I'm not sure if it was though, especially with how awkward everything was. But either way, no time to dwell on that because it's time for us to end the day as well. So, it's time to say bye!